Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we do have a book haul. I feel like I filmed one of these quite recently. I filmed a birthday book haul, and my birthday is the end of December, so it has only been 3 months since I've done a relatively big book haul, and I didn't think I'd do one so soon, but here we are. In my defense, the majority of these books were purchased for me by my husband, so it's not my fault that he loves to spoil me with books, okay? I'm sorry. So starting off, I got A Kingdom, This Cursed and Empty by Stasia Stark. This is the second book in the Kingdom of Lies series. I read the first one, what was it? A Court, This Cruel and Lovely, and I really enjoyed that book. I think I gave it like a 4.5 or a 4.75. I had such a good time reading it. Very fun, fast-paced fantasy romance. I think I read that one like 5 months ago, so I don't know why it's taken me so long to pick up the second book in this series. I always do this, like I'll start a series, I'll really enjoy it, and then I just don't pick up the second book. I have no idea why I do this, but I'm gonna try to change that, and I want to film a continuing series I'm in the middle of video, so this will definitely be featuring in it. And yeah, I'm just so excited to get back into this world. It was so fun, so fast-paced, good enemies to lovers, good banter. I have heard that this is one of those series that gets better and better as it goes on. I hope that's true, and I will let you guys know if it is. But yeah, I'm really excited for this one. I have a good amount of fantasy romance in this haul, and that's because I am now in a very big fantasy romance mood. Because if you don't know, I live in New Zealand, which is in the southern hemisphere, which means that it is now officially autumn for me. And that also means that winter is on the horizon. And the cold, gloomy months just call for a good fantasy romance, so that's why I'm really in the mood for them. So I also got Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. I've had my eyes on this book for a wee while, and I've just heard such good things about it. I think this is like one of those game fantasy romances. I think there's like some sort of trial or tournament or just some sort of deadly game going on in this book. I love a game/trial book. I just think they're so fun, they're so much more fast-paced, and they're just a really good time. It says, "Welcome to Phantasma. There are only 2 rules in the game. The first one is to stay alive, and the second is to not fall in love." Now, from what I've heard about this book is that the main love interest is a phantom, and he also has like very silvery kind of white hair. I don't know what it is, but I really do love a love interest with like bleach blonde or silver hair, and that's probably because I grew up loving Draco Malfoy. Like, he was my ultimate crush, and so I have a very soft spot for that sort of bleach blonde silver kind of hair. I also think the second book to the series, Enchantra, I believe that's what it's called, that is going to be coming out shortly, and I want to finish this book before the second one comes out. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. Right, the next book I got is my first ever Anna Huang book. And the reason I picked it up is because, if you guys don't know, I love football. I am a die-hard Arsenal fan. I love football. I watch it every weekend when it's on. Like, I just am obsessed with it. It's so much fun. So I picked up The Striker by Anna Huang, and normally this kind of genre isn't my favorite, but I figured if I love the main sport, then I think I'll love it. Like, I'm not really one to read sport romances. It's not really my thing, especially when it's a sport that I don't care about, like ice hockey, baseball, basketball. Like, I'm not really bothered, you know what I mean? Even F1, like, I don't really care. But I do love football, which you guys call soccer in America. The main guy in this book, he is the darling of the Prem League and arguably the greatest footballer in the world, but his reckless behavior and recent transfer have become a PR nightmare. And so I think he ends up falling with his rival's sister. Now she is a former ballerina, and somehow she ends up becoming his trainer. Yeah, what the hell is she training him for? Like, what is a ballerina training a footballer for? I'd love to know, but I'm sure it will add up in this book. And even if not, I don't mind, you know, sort of overlooking that for the sake of my enjoyment. I'm really excited, and sometimes a good romance is enjoyable. Again, it's not my favorite genre, but I'm hoping that there's a lot of talk about football in this book because, like I said, I'm obsessed with it. I have heard very good things about it, and hopefully I enjoy it. Fingers crossed. Okay, so the next book I have is The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. I've seen the series all over my feed in the last maybe 6 months to a year, and I've been super intrigued by it. But recently I just keep seeing it and people talking about the last book, giving it a 5-star, like crying. The reactions I'm seeing online about this series is really giving me FOMO, and I was like, I need to read it for myself and find out what this is all about. This is a YA fantasy romance, and sometimes a YA fantasy romance really does hit. I think because they don't delve into like a ton of world building a lot of the times, or they're just usually a bit more fast-paced and just, I don't know, easier to digest, if that makes sense. So I really do love me a little YA fantasy romance. I find them very nostalgic. So the main girl, Kiva, she spent the last 10 years fighting for survival in the notorious death prison, and she is working as a prison healer. That does make sense. That's why the book is called what it is. Oh, this is exciting. And then when the rebel queen is captured, Kiva is charged with keeping the terminally ill woman alive for her to undergo the trial by ordeal. And then some sort of trial happens, a series of elemental challenges against the torments of air, fire, water, and earth, assigned to only the most dangerous of criminals. And then Kiva risks her own life to volunteer in place, so she has to go through those deadly trials, and apparently no one has ever survived before. I am very excited for this. I'm assuming this one is going to be a lot more focused on like the fantasy as opposed to the romance. Either way, I don't care. I just want a very immersive sort of reading experience, and I hope this is going to give me that. But yeah, like I said, I've just seen everyone on my feed, especially people that I really trust with book reviews, saying such amazing things about this book, so hopefully it's good. And then the next book I have was actually kindly sent to me by one of my very, very gorgeous subscribers, Jess. Jess, if you're watching this, I love you so much. You are beautiful, stunning, so kind. She reached out to me on Instagram asking if she can send me one of her favorite books, and she thinks that I will also really like it. And I've seen a lot of good things about this book, and it does seem like it's right up my alley. And that book is The Unmaking of June Pharaoh by Adrienne Young. I think I saw this book blowing up, yeah, I think maybe also 6 months ago, and it just seems like one of those very, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it seems like a general fiction with potentially magical realism woven into it. Let's read the back of it. A woman risks everything to end her family's centuries-old curse. Okay, so it's definitely some sort of magic. And she wants to solve her mother's disappearance and find love in this mesmerizing novel. With The Unmaking of June Pharaoh, Adrienne Young delivers a brilliant novel of romance, mystery, and a touch of the impossible. This is a story you will never forget. And I also think I read early on that if you are a lover of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, which that is like a 6-star book for me, then you would also really love this book. So maybe it has sort of similar vibes to it. But I definitely do think this book will be right up my alley. What did Jess say about it? Let's see. She says, I love it so much and thought you may also find a new favorite in it. Literally the cutest girl in the world. I really like these kind of books that have like a fusion of genres. It's almost like historical fiction with a bit of mystery, with romance. Like, there's just a lot going on in it. And it doesn't really assign itself to one specific genre, which I just find a lot more interesting. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love when authors do that. Just give me all the genres. Keep me on the edge of my seat. So yeah, hopefully I also love this book. It's only 330 pages. I don't know why, but I thought it was a much bigger book when I was seeing it online. But yeah, hopefully I also really love this book, and I think I will. Right, the next book I got really grabbed my attention when I was in the bookshop with my mom. Both mom and I were both like, ooh, what is this book? And it's called The Starlight Heir by Amelie Howard. And let me just read the back of this for you guys. It has a lot of great praise by Rebecca Yarros, which wrote Fourth Wing. I'm not huge into Fourth Wing, but that's okay. And it also has very good praise by the author of From Blood and Ash, Jennifer L. Armentrout. Anyways, so it says, when an invitation to King Zarek's palace arrives at Soraya's forge, she thinks it's a mistake. Nobles might seek her skills as a bladesmith, but she has no qualifications as a potential bride for the crown prince. But still, she accepts the invitation and she ends up going to the capital to go to the palace. And it's not the crown prince, but his impossibly handsome brother who captures her interest. Oh, so the invitation actually wasn't a quest to find a bride, but a hunt for the Star Keeper, a girl that is rumored to hold the power of the stars in her blood. I'm assuming that's obviously going to be the main girl. But doesn't it just sound so interesting? It sounds so good, and I haven't heard of it before. If I haven't heard of it before, there's a good chance you guys also haven't heard of it before. So hopefully I really love it and I can recommend it to you guys. The next book I picked up is another fantasy romance. Like I said, I'm just in the mood for fantasy romance, okay? It's actually so hot today, but it was so gloomy a few days ago and I was like, winter's coming. But now it feels like summer again. But I think in the next month or two, it's gonna start getting cold and gloomy, and like I said, just the best time for fantasy romance. The next book I got has very mixed reviews, and people either really love it or they claim that it sort of copies other books. And that book is Lightlark by Alex Astor. I keep seeing this book on my feed, and I know that Emmy reads, she really loved this book, and I think we have sort of similar taste in books, sometimes not. But not only her, I've also seen other people really rave about this book recently. And I've also seen people say that it's like a knockoff from The Hunger Games and kind of stealing ideas from different fantasy romances. Sometimes that does happen, and especially with newer fantasy romance, because everything's already been done. Like, it's very hard to bring a new sort of idea to the fantasy romance world because most things have been done, especially if there's like a deadly game going on, and in this book there is some sort of like Hunger Games kind of thing happening. Every 100 years, the island of Lightlark appears for only 100 days, and that is to host a deadly game where the rulers of 6 realms fight to break their curse and win unparalleled power. And each ruler has something to hide. Each curse is uniquely wicked, and to break them and save themselves and their realms, one ruler must die. So I kind of see how it's giving like Hunger Games, but like I said, wherever there is a trial or game in a fantasy romance, they're always going to have some sort of inspiration from other fantasy romances. It just happens. It was like that in Powerless. People were like, oh, this is a knockoff from Hunger Games, etc., etc. I'm very curious about this book and my opinions on it, because I might also end up loving it, but I might also fall into the category of people who think that this book has potentially stolen ideas from different books. Who knows? The next book I got, surprisingly not a fantasy romance, is going to be my first Kristen Hanna book, and that is The Great Alone. I keep seeing this book on my feed as well, and I've been meaning to read one of Kristen Hanna's books because her books apparently are just so beautiful, so well written, and she is a general fiction / historical fiction sort of author. I really love those genres, and I think her books are very emotional. Everyone seems to be crying while reading her books, and I love a good cry. In The Great Alone, this is an epic story of human survival and love, and an intimate portrait of a family tested beyond endurance. It's a story of love, family, unbreakable bonds, bravery, and hope. And I really like books that obviously break your heart but leave you feeling hopeful, or like, I don't know, like they are so bittersweet because they absolutely devastate you, but there is like this undercurrent of like love and hope, and yeah, I don't know, I just really like books like this. So hopefully I also end up loving this book like everyone seems to, and then if that's the case, then I can read all of her books, because it's so fun finding a new good author and you're like, yes, I have this whole catalog of books I can read now. So fingers crossed I also love this book. The next book I got is a psychological thriller / mystery, but I realized something, that I think this is actually a sequel. And when I show you the book cover, you're gonna be like, duh, Sarah, it's so obvious it's a sequel. The book is called The Sequel by Jean Hanf Korolitz, and the first book in the series, I believe, is called The Plot. Now, when I was in the bookshop, this book was propped up in like the top 100 sellers, and it was the only book by this author there. So the first book wasn't there as well. So I just assumed that the title was just called the sequel and that there's no first book to this. I was like, okay, it looks really good. I read the back of it. It sounds super interesting. And when I searched online, people are saying you don't have to read the first book to read this, but it follows a lot of the same characters as the first book, the plot. And so now I have to go buy the plot before I can read this book. Although it seems like it's interconnected, like an interconnected standalone. I don't know. If you've read this book, please let me know. People are telling me different things online, but I'm just not going to risk it. I'm going to get the first book. But it seems like a very, very good psychological thriller. And it has very good praise from Lisa Jewell, who wrote None of This Is True. And it also has very good praise from Stephen King. And everyone knows who Stephen King is. The next book I got, surprise, surprise. Is it a fantasy romance? Yes. The next book I got is The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. I think I've seen this book online before, but maybe different covers, like a different US cover, who knows. But when I read the back of it, I was like, oh, this is such a me book. Like, I love stuff like this. You guys will know. It is set in England, 1848. Surprise, surprise. I just love Regency England. So good. So the season is officially open. High society girls line up to bargain with the immortal queen for qualities that will win them suitors. Whether it's a perfect smile for the loss of a finger, an exquisite talent for piano in exchange for one's happiest childhood memory. Lady Ivy Benton's season arrives with a shocking twist. The queen announces a competition to win the hand of her fae son, Prince Bram. And marrying the prince is a prize that could save Ivy's family from ruin and her sister from the bargain that destroyed her. Yet every glittering fae deal has a rotting heart. And amidst the lavish balls, vicious competitions, and a dangerous alliance with the prince's irresistible brother, another brother story, oh my goodness. Ivy soon realizes that at the center of this contest lies a dark plot that could destroy all of England and her heart along with it. Doesn't that just sound so good, you guys? It's set in Regency England, high society, we have balls, we have betrayal, we have falling in love with the prince's brother. I mean, what more can you want? You know, what more can a girl want? And yeah, I'm just really excited to read this book. It sounds like it's right up my alley and hopefully I love it. The last book I have, surprisingly, is a non-fiction book. Now, you guys know I don't really read non-fiction. It's not normally my thing, but this is from an author who I genuinely love listening to her speak. I think she's so good, and whenever she says things, I always really digest them and use her advice. And this book is The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. I'm sure you guys have seen it online before. It's definitely blown up recently. And this is definitely a book for the people pleasers. And I feel like this is definitely something that I can really take away from, because I do consider myself a people pleaser sometimes, like not at all, but sometimes, like with silly things, I really do consider myself to be a people pleaser. And sometimes like the fear and judgment of other people's opinions will stop me from doing certain things. And I just really, really want to learn how to sort of remove that. And I just feel like it'll be nice to read a book that I can really learn from and take away from. And yeah, who knows, this could be the start of me really enjoying nonfiction. I really love Mel Robbins. I've listened to her in so many podcasts. I think she's really intelligent, and I just like the way that she delivers her messages. Sometimes like 100 people can say the same thing, but there might be only 3 people that really resonate with you like the way they say it. And Mel Robbins, like everything she says, I really resonate with, or she really speaks to me, if that makes sense. I'm hoping I can learn from her book. And yeah, that is my book haul. Not a lot of range, because I would say the majority of it is fantasy romance, but that is okay. I'm super excited to read all these books, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this book haul. Let me know if you've also picked up some new books recently. And yeah, thank you so much again for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!